Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, leave your comment and turn on the notification bell. Only then will you not miss the next revelations of Edgar Cayce and the hidden truths about life, death, and the soul's eternal journey. From the moment we are born, one truth shadows every breath. One day, we will die. Most of humanity fears this inevitability, clinging to wealth, relationships, and possessions in a desperate attempt to avoid the great unknown. But Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, shattered this fear with revelations that life and death are not opposites, but two sides of the same eternal journey. In hundreds of his trance readings, Cayce described death not as an end, but as a passage. Like stepping from one room into another, he insisted that the soul does not vanish. Instead, it simply lays aside the physical body the way a traveler removes a worn-out coat. To him, the body was only a temporary garment, while the soul was indestructible, carrying memory, experience, and purpose beyond the grave. But Cayce's visions went further. He explained that our earthly lives are not isolated accidents. Each existence is a chapter in a much larger story, the evolution of the soul. We live, we learn, we die, and then we live again. Each lifetime becomes an opportunity to refine ourselves, to heal past mistakes, and to move closer to harmony with the divine. He compared death to a homecoming. Just as a soldier returns from battle, weary but wiser, the soul returns to its spiritual home after the struggles of earthly existence. There, Cayce said, it rests, reviews the lessons of the life just lived, and prepares for the next mission. For those who feared death, Cayce's message was liberating. He taught that nothing is lost. Love survives. Consciousness survives. Even the bonds between souls continue, weaving together across lifetimes. Death in this vision is not darkness, it is transition. And yet Cayce warned, how we live now shapes the journey after death. Thoughts, actions, and intentions leave imprints on the soul, carried beyond the grave. Death does not erase responsibility, it magnifies it. In this way, the mysteries of life and death are not separate puzzles, but one truth. What you sow in life, you harvest in eternity. According to Edgar Cayce, when the soul leaves the body, it does not drift into a void of nothingness. Instead, it awakens into realms of existence as real, if not more real, than the physical world. These realms, he explained, are layers of consciousness, each reflecting the inner state of the soul. Cayce described these dimensions as vibrational planes, almost like frequencies on a cosmic scale. Just as a radio tunes to a station, the soul, upon death, naturally gravitates toward the realm that matches its vibration. Those who lived selfishly, consumed by anger, greed, or hatred, often found themselves in lower realms, dense and heavy, where confusion or unrest lingered. But those who cultivated love, kindness, and service were drawn upward into lighter, brighter spheres where peace and understanding prevail. This was not punishment or reward. Cayce insisted there was no eternal hell as popularly imagined. Instead, he explained that each realm is simply the reflection of what the soul has built within itself during life. We carry our inner world with us into death. In this sense, the afterlife is a mirror. In higher planes, Cayce described landscapes of astonishing beauty, gardens, rivers of light, radiant beings guiding souls into deeper wisdom. Here, the soul feels at home, embraced by harmony and love. In lower planes, the soul may experience shadows, confusion, or loneliness. But even there, Cayce said, there is always hope. Guides and angels wait for the moment a soul chooses growth, ready to lift them higher. Most profoundly, Cayce revealed that after death, every soul undergoes a review of its earthly life, not a judgment imposed by an external God, but a self-judgment, where the soul relives its deeds, thoughts, and emotions from the perspective of those it affected. In that review, the soul experiences both the joy it brought others and the pain it caused. This, Cayce explained, is how we truly learn compassion. These realms, then, are not static destinations, but stages in the soul's eternal education. Every soul, no matter how lost, has the chance to ascend. Every mistake can be redeemed. And so death is not a wall, but a doorway into schools of spirit, where we continue the lessons we began on earth. To Edgar Cayce, death was not the final curtain, and life was not a one-time event. He revealed that reincarnation, the soul's return to earth in different bodies and circumstances, is the great rhythm of existence. Through it, the mysteries of life and death become a single unfolding story. Cayce explained that the soul is eternal, created by God with a divine purpose, to learn, to grow, and to return to perfect unity with its source. But in order to grow, the soul must experience. Earth, he said, is a school, a place where lessons cannot be learned in the abstract, but only through living them out in flesh and blood. Why are some born into wealth while others face poverty? Why do some enjoy good health while others suffer disease? Cayce answered, these conditions are not random, nor are they punishments. They are opportunities. Each lifetime is crafted to give the soul precisely the experiences it needs to balance past actions, to heal old wounds, or to develop new strengths. He described reincarnation as the law of sowing and reaping stretched across lifetimes. The choices we make in one existence shape the conditions of the next, not as a cruel fate, but as a chance for growth. A tyrant may return as a servant to learn humility. A neglectful parent may return as a child, longing for love, to understand the pain they once caused. And souls who have loved deeply and served faithfully may reincarnate with greater gifts to share their light more widely. Yet Cayce was clear. Reincarnation is not endless. Its purpose is not to trap us, but to free us. Each cycle is a step closer to liberation, as the soul gradually sheds ignorance and selfishness and awakens to its true identity as a spiritual being. Eventually, through many lives, the soul reaches a state where earthly lessons are complete, and it no longer needs to reincarnate. For those who feared death, Cayce's vision was astonishing. Nothing is wasted. Every joy, every sorrow, every mistake is woven into the soul's tapestry, preparing it for higher states of being. Death may close a chapter, but reincarnation opens the next, always guiding the soul closer to the divine. In Edgar Cayce's readings, one of the most powerful revelations was what happens immediately after death. He explained that the soul does not simply drift into silence. It awakens to a process known as the life review. This review is not a trial in a courtroom, nor is it a judgment handed down by an angry God. Instead, Cayce described it as the soul standing before its own record, the Book of Life, often called the Akashic Records. In this sacred mirror, every thought, every word, every action from the lifetime just lived is revealed in detail. But the soul does not see its life only from its own perspective. It feels the impact of its choices through the eyes and hearts of others. Imagine speaking a cruel word. In the life review, you do not only recall saying it, you feel the pain it caused. If you offered love or kindness, you relive the joy you gave. This, Cayce said, is how the soul truly learns. It is not punished from outside. It is educated from within. The life review is a teacher, showing us where we have grown and where we must return to learn again. After this review, the soul enters a period of rest in the between worlds. Cayce described this realm as a place of preparation, where guides, angels, and even loved ones assist the soul in planning its next steps. Here, the soul reflects on its strengths, acknowledges its weaknesses, and chooses the conditions of its next incarnation, not as a punishment, but as a chance to continue the lesson. Some souls may need to return quickly, driven by unfinished tasks. Others may rest longer, gathering strength and wisdom before re-entering Earth. But always the law of love and growth governs the process. No soul is abandoned. No mistake is beyond healing. For Cayce, this between world was not a fantasy. It was the heartbeat of the soul's eternal journey. Life, death, review, and rest form a sacred cycle, drawing every spirit closer to its true destiny. union with the divine. And so, death is not final. It is a classroom doorway. Beyond it waits not silence, but teachers, guides, and the eternal echo of our own choices, calling us to rise higher with every return. Among Edgar Cayce's most profound insights was his explanation of karma. Many people imagine karma as punishment, some cosmic force that strikes back for past wrongs. But Cayce revealed something far more hopeful. Karma is not vengeance, it is opportunity. He described karma as the law of cause and effect, operating across lifetimes. Every action, thought, or intention sets energy into motion. That energy eventually returns to its source, not to condemn, but to teach. If we plant seeds of kindness, we harvest kindness. If we sow selfishness or cruelty, we meet its lessons until we learn to act differently. Karma is not about punishment. It is about education, about balance. Cayce explained that each challenge we face in life carries hidden meaning. A difficult relationship may be the soul's chance to heal an old wound. Financial struggles may be a lesson in resourcefulness or trust. Illness may push the soul to discover patience, compassion, or a deeper reliance on the divine. Nothing, he insisted, happens by accident. Every circumstance, pleasant or painful, serves a higher purpose in the soul's growth. Importantly, Cayce rejected the idea of karma as a fixed prison. He taught that through free will, prayer, and conscious choice, we can transform our destiny. A soul may be born with heavy burdens from past actions, but by choosing love, forgiveness, and service, it can break old cycles and create new pathways. Karma, then, is never permanent. It is always evolving. He also emphasized that karma is collective as well as individual. Families, nations, even civilizations carry shared lessons. Wars, disasters, and times of upheaval are not random tragedies, but opportunities for humanity to grow together, to learn compassion, unity, and wisdom on a larger scale. For those who feared an endless chain of suffering, Cayce's vision was liberating. He taught that every soul is destined for healing. No matter how dark the past, the law of karma is ultimately a law of love, ensuring that every mistake becomes the seed of growth. In this way, karma weaves the mysteries of life and death into one tapestry. It is not a chain binding us to despair, but a bridge guiding us toward transformation, life after life, choice after choice. Edgar Cayce often called dreams the forgotten language of the soul. For him, they were not random fragments of imagination, but sacred doorways into the mysteries of life and death. In his trance readings, Cayce explained that the dream world is the same realm the soul enters at death, the astral plane. Each night, as the body rests, the soul partially loosens from its physical shell, tasting the freedom it will fully experience when life ends. Through dreams, Cayce said, we glimpse eternity. Sometimes they are symbolic, filled with strange images that reflect the state of our inner world. Other times, they are direct experiences, encounters with loved ones who have passed, or visits to realms of light and shadow. These dreams are more than illusions. They are evidence that death is not the end, but a transition to dimensions we already touch every night. Cayce emphasized that dreams serve as both guidance and preparation. A recurring nightmare may signal unresolved karma, urging us to change course. A luminous dream of peace or beauty may reassure us that higher realms await beyond the veil, and messages from guides or departed loved ones may come through dreams to comfort us or warn us of choices ahead. For Cayce, paying attention to dreams was not optional. It was spiritual training. He urged people to keep journals, to pray before sleep, and to ask for guidance in dreams. By doing so, the soul becomes more conscious of its eternal journey, less afraid of death, and more aligned with divine purpose in daily life. Most strikingly, Cayce revealed that at the moment of death, the transition feels much like awakening from a dream. Just as we rise from sleep and realize the dream was real in its own way, the soul rises from the body and realizes earthly life was only one dream among many. Death, then, is simply the greatest awakening. Thus, dreams stand as nightly rehearsals for eternity, soft whispers reminding us that the soul never dies. To understand them is to prepare for death and to live life with greater wisdom, courage, and hope. For Edgar Cayce, the mysteries of life and death were never random riddles. They were steps in a vast design. Behind every birth, every death, every reincarnation, there was a single eternal purpose: for the soul to return to full unity with its Creator. Cayce taught that each soul was created by God, out of pure spirit, radiant and free. But in the beginning, many souls turned their attention toward material experience. They entered the physical world not as punishment, but out of curiosity, desire, and the longing to create. Yet in this descent into matter, the soul became entangled in illusion, forgetting its divine origin, trapped in cycles of desire, pride, and fear. This, Cayce explained, is why we are born again and again. Each life is an opportunity to awaken from illusion and remember who we truly are: spiritual beings having temporary human experiences. The hardships we face, the loves we share, the mistakes we make, all of them are lessons meant to bring us closer to love, wisdom, and balance. The ultimate goal is not to escape life, nor to cling to death, but to transcend both. Cayce said that once the soul has learned its lessons, once it has mastered compassion, forgiveness, service, and harmony, it no longer needs to reincarnate. It graduates from the school of earth and moves into higher realms permanently, dwelling in light, peace, and oneness with the divine. He warned, however, that this path requires choice. Free will is sacred. The soul cannot be forced into growth. It must desire it, must seek it, must choose love over fear, service over selfishness, truth over illusion. Each decision, each day, shapes the soul's progress toward its eternal destiny. For Cayce, the mysteries of life and death were not morbid curiosities. They were guideposts pointing to the soul's highest calling. Death loses its terror when we see it as part of this journey. Life gains meaning when we recognize it as a chance to grow. And reincarnation, far from being a prison, becomes the bridge carrying us back to God. In the end, Cayce's vision was both humbling and empowering. We are not victims of fate, but pilgrims of eternity, walking through life and death toward the same radiant home. What if everything you've been taught about life and death is only half the truth? What if death is not the end, but a doorway? Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, revealed secrets that shook those who listened. He spoke of realms beyond the grave, of reincarnation, karma, and the eternal journey of the soul. Tonight, we dive into his visions, dark, mysterious, but full of hope. Cayce insisted that death is not an enemy. It is like stepping from one room into another, shedding the body as a traveler sheds a worn coat. The soul does not perish, it awakens. Life and death, he said, are not opposites but parts of the same eternal rhythm. And how we live today shapes the path we walk beyond the veil. Beyond death, Cayce described realms, vibrational planes where souls gather according to their inner state. Lower realms reflect selfishness, anger, or fear. Higher realms radiate peace, beauty, and love. There is no eternal hell, only classrooms where the soul learns. The afterlife, he said, is a mirror. We carry within us the world we awaken to after death. And yet, the journey does not end there. Cayce revealed the great law of reincarnation. Souls return to earth again and again, not as punishment, but as opportunity. Each lifetime is a classroom designed to balance the past, to heal, and to grow. Wealth, poverty, health, and suffering are not accidents. They are carefully chosen lessons. Through them, the soul slowly learns compassion, wisdom, and harmony. At death, every soul undergoes the life review. In the Book of Life, the Akashic records, each word, thought, and deed is revealed. not judged by an external God, but relived through the eyes of those we touched. We feel the joy we created. We feel the pain we caused. And in that mirror, the soul sees where it has grown and where it must return to learn again. This cycle is governed by karma, which Cayce called not punishment, but opportunity. Every struggle, every challenge is a hidden doorway to growth. Through free will, prayer, and service, old patterns can be broken and new paths created. Karma is the law of love, ensuring that no mistake is wasted and no soul is lost. Cayce also revealed that dreams are the windows to eternity. Each night as the body rests, the soul slips into realms beyond the physical. In dreams, we glimpse what awaits us. Messages from guides, visits from loved ones, symbols of karma unresolved. Death itself, he said, feels much like awakening from a dream, sudden, luminous, undeniable. But why all of this? Why life, death, rebirth, and struggle? Cayce answered, the soul has one ultimate purpose, to return to unity with God. Each life is a step in that journey. Each death is a passage closer to awakening. And reincarnation is not a trap, but a bridge. One day, when the lessons are learned, the soul graduates from earth and enters the higher realms forever. For Cayce, the greatest mystery was also the greatest promise. You are more than a body, more than a single lifetime. You are eternal. You are spirit, walking through worlds, carrying the spark of the divine. Death is not the end. It is the continuation of a journey that began long before you were born and will continue long after you leave this world. So ask yourself, how are you living today? What seeds are you planting? Because every thought, every act, every intention echoes into eternity. And when you pass beyond the veil, you will meet yourself in the mirror of the soul. This is not a story to hear once and forget. Edgar Cayce's wisdom is a daily training. Just as the body weakens without exercise, the soul drifts without practice. That is why this channel exists, to be your companion, your guide, your reminder. Return here every day. Listen, reflect. Let these truths shape your thoughts, your choices, your destiny. With each day, you draw closer to peace, closer to love, closer to the wealth of the spirit. Subscribe now and come back tomorrow. Train your soul daily with the teachings of Edgar Cayce, for life and death are not mysteries to fear, they are gateways to eternity.